He used to tell me he was 5'11", and I was like, "You're 5'9.5", and he's like, "I know." And I'm like, "You added it an inch and a half?" He's like, "Yeah." I didn't want to. I mean, I knew you weren't going to think I was 6 foot. I was like, "Oh my God!" But it's, but like,
oh my God, that's amazing. I love it. What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Best Friend Files.
Sources for this podcast will literally be this YouTube video. Okay, 3.5 million views 6 days ago. Brianna Chickenfry talks Zach Bryan relationship and breakup. BFF's EP 198. This has got to be it.
Yes, this is it. I think we should start at minute 5:13.
Okay.
Went through this 2 times. So I obviously went on tour with him, and I gave up myself to do that. And like I said, willingly, we talked about it a lot, and it was like a sacrifice for our future. And it was 1 year, we could do it. It would be over. And I was just willing to sacrifice for someone that I loved. I didn't think that it would end like this, obviously. And throughout that, it came a point where I had to plan my tour. The tours that I've been doing for years. And I started planning it, and we planned it according to his tour schedule. So it was planned where I could be at everything of his, and he had a 2-month break. I could go on my tour, and we could just relax and take a break, because the year was very grueling on obviously him, but me too. I'm living on a bus and traveling every single day, and I'm not with anyone that I know, and it was really lonely. So I was gonna get off his tour of the year, get off the bus, and I had a couple days, and I'm gonna go on tour. He drove me to New York City and dropped me off, and it was kind of abrupt. It was he just got in his car and left, and he's like, "I'm not ditching you. I'm going to come on your tour in a couple days. I'll see you. I love you." That felt a little weird. I was like, what the hell? I knew he wasn't coming. And that's okay, because we talked about it, and it was basically that he had just had the hardest year of his life. He just wants to sit still. He wants to be here in Massachusetts, be at home, and just be quiet. And I'm like, you know what? That makes total sense. I'll go on my tour. I'm excited. I'm so excited to get back to me and do what I was doing. It will be nice to have this time off, away from each other, where I'm back doing my thing and he can just relax, recollect himself, and get ready to go on the last leg of his tour. And I set off on tour, and him and I are fine, and we're talking every day, obviously, and I'm thriving. I'm so happy. I'm back in my element. It's all over social media, obviously, I'm posting about it. I'm so excited. I'm back with my friends. I'm doing me, and it's very evident that I'm happy. And all of a sudden, there's this shift with him where he suddenly goes to New York City and throws a pop-up show and stops answering me, and just completely is just 180 from, "Babe, I can't make your tour because I really want to just be home and be here and be present and relax," to, "Okay, I'm not going to come to your tour, but I'm going to go have a pop-up show in New York City. I'm going to stay out all night for all these days and not answer you. And then I'm going to text you when you're on your biggest tour that you've done, and say, actually, I can't do this anymore," out of nowhere. Well, I'm in Seattle. I'm across the country. And I'm halfway. It's hard to even look back on, because I'm halfway through my tour, and it's fucking awesome. And obviously every day I'm wishing he was there, how I showed up for him. But I respected that he just wanted to be home, because understood that he had a hard year. But then he just went out and went crazy and threw parties, and then tells me he can't do this anymore with me because he needed me during these 2 weeks that we had planned for me to be on my tour. He needed me there, but we had planned this according to his schedule so that I could go live my life. And I genuinely think he just needs someone that can be that can just be the girl. And no one should ever just be the girl. And I was so close to just being the girl. But I'm on tour and I'm like, holy shit, I kind of forgot like who I am and what I built and all of these fans that are here and all these shows. I'm touring the fucking West Coast. I'm flying all over and I'm doing so well. I'm so happy. I'm finally like feeling like myself again. And I just get I can't do this anymore. I need you. And it was like, what? Where is this coming from? Why are you breaking up with me when I'm across the country on my tour? And what the fuck? So I'm on my tour and my tour documentary is out. You can slowly watch the light fade from my fucking eyes. It's really sad to watch, but you would have never known that. You would have never known that. No one there knew that because I put them first and that tour first. And I wasn't gonna let for a second him take that away from me or my team or my friends. And I have 3 more shows left or 2 more shows left and I'm a mess. Like I can't even talk. I'm just in my hotel room like, what the fuck? I'm like, do I fly back? Do I like try to talk to him? What is happening? It was just so out of nowhere. And for why, I don't know. Had that thrown on me while I was on tour was awful. And I got through it. I got through the tour, like barely. And I flew home and I'm like, no way this is no way this is happening, right? Like I'm gonna go home and it's gonna be like, no, this isn't what's happening. And I get home from 3 weeks on the road of nonstop travel and it's pretty much like, hey, it's time to move out. I'm like, what? Can we like talk about this? Not even that I want to figure it out. Like, can we have a conversation about what's happening? Because I'm fucking lost, bro. I am like, are we on 2 different planets right now? Did we not just build a life together in where I grew up? Did we not just talk about constantly every day getting married and kids? Do we not make video diaries for our children every day? I go away for 2 weeks to give myself a little bit of something, and I come home and it's pack your bags. I was gutted. I drove back to Boston the next morning and still getting nothing. It's just like, I accepted it. I had to cancel Surviving Barstool because I had to look for a place to live, and I had to, try to comprehend everything that was going on. And I don't think a reality show would have been the best for me, which sucks because I really wanted to do that. And I was really excited for that.
Do you want to stop it there and comment?
Sure.
Because you look like you have a lot to say.
Yeah, I just had a wave of emotion. So she describes, of course, holding him down being an A-plus girlfriend. There's a 50% chance that I would do that. And if I did it, I would definitely complain at least 4 times and say I'm going to leave at least once. So amazing. And then she describes how he drops her off and he's aloof. And she says he's not going to come. Because she just says, like, it's weird. And then she's like, I knew he's not going to come. And to me, that stands out because it shows the expectancy of this behavior. This is a pattern where maybe I'm speculating that the topic is always about her, but I'll just say whenever there's something that he doesn't want to do, he pulls back, and she already knows without him saying, he is going to break a promise to me. He is going to be untrustworthy. He is going to put himself over me. He is not going to make a sacrifice because of his feelings for me. It's such a narcissistic move, but I'm going to say more on that in a second. My next thought was that, of course, he needs to recollect because of, yet again, the description is a really hard year. Like, what exactly happened to him where this year is the hardest thing? Can somebody tell me an event? Like, if you knew somebody who got fired from their job and they said, I was in September 11th and they got laid off or fired in 2002, that person would tell you if there was a reason for what was happening. They would be like, I just need to go back to my parents' house and live in the country because I was in September 11th. And you're going to be like, whoa, oh my God, dude, are you good? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I feel like it's part of that narcissistic thing where you have no empathy, that you don't even care to make it plausible or sound reasonable. You're just being like, you know what? I just need time because things have been terrible. And you don't even try or put an effort towards trying to save face and be like, and I have a viable reason for saying it's the worst year of my life. We need to do a 1-year check-in on this episode in November of 2025. If he is saying it is the worst year of his life, Zach, please email us at bestfriendfilespodcast@gmail.com. Okay? Like...
No, like, I totally am with you. I picked up on that too. I'm like, why is she using the same language that he did? So, like, clearly this is something that he has repeated to himself and her and multiple other people, that this dude has had a hard year. You've had the most successful year of your life, technically. So, like, are you just complaining about the fact that, like, you're successful? So you're, like, touring. People want to interview you. People want you to play on their shows. Like, you're putting that money in the bank. You're getting everything that you wanted. Like, you got discharged from the army to pursue this career.
Sounds like first place to me.
You're offering people $12 million to just not talk about you. It couldn't have been that hard of a year.
Somebody please email us at bestfriendfilespodcast@gmail.com and tell us if you know why this year has been so particularly terrible for Zach. Okay, the next thing I wrote here is that when she was touring herself and he wasn't there, she's saying, like, what she's doing. You know, she's basically just working, socializing. She's working. She's busting her ass, and she's having a great time doing it. And she says, it's evident that I'm happy. And it just makes me think of, like, people who say, like, I'm not mad, and they're so mad, you know, or like, no offense, but like that contradiction of, like, at face value, her saying it's evident I'm happy is her saying it to us, the audience, is being like, clearly by the things I just mentioned, I'm happy, but she's telling herself that, like, she is convincing herself. It just feels like she's stepping out of that mind F that Zach caused her and being like, it is evident and I have rationale that I was happy during that time. You shouldn't need to vocalize that sentence. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's too obvious. It's like if you tell us, like, I'm hanging out with my friends, I'm working, it's going great, then, like, you can just roll right into, and then he says this and, like, it upsets me. You don't have to be like, it was evident I was happy. To me, that just feels like she is telling herself that because she is retraining her brain, like she said, to be like, these things indicate happiness to me. And that's what I was experiencing when he wasn't around. To be so jealous, which is a trait of narcissism that we read in our last episode, that he doesn't allow me to have my own life or happiness apart from him. It just has to be about Zach.
Yeah. And especially, I think what really stood out to me, other than using the same language, because that was huge. Because again, just the year, it was weird that it was like said exactly like that. Because like I feel like there's a million different things that could happen, and two people, even if they're in an intimate relationship with each other, would describe them in a variation of terms, to say the least. But the part where she says that he says, "Don't worry, I'm not ditching you."
I didn't even hear that.
And then subsequently, like he's like she says, like, you know, when it was time to come home from his tour, and like he dropped her off, whatever. And and when she said she could feel that he was going, he actually jokes about not ditching her, like, "Don't worry, I'm not going to ditch you." So like he is well aware of what he is doing. She is I mean, that is literally the definition of gaslighting.
Yes.
Like you're literally you're actively pulling away from this person that you just spent all this time with, and they are sensing it. They are reacting to it in a very subtle way by probably just body language, the way she's looking at him, because all of a sudden, because she can feel what's actually happening. And then he reassures her that what she believes is happening is not.
Definitely not.
When indeed, it's actually exactly what's happening. And that is gaslighting, my friends. I know it's a popular term. People toss it around a lot, but this is a situation here.
One might say it's textbook.
Yeah. We have a gaslighter. So we have narcissistic gaslighting, and we're
10 minutes in.
What are we, 10 minutes
But we've only
deep?
listened to like a minute 40 of actual material. So yeah, we're in the seventh circle of hell already. It's exactly where I thought we'd be.
Okay, so the next one that I have written down is 39 is the timestamp.
Heading there now.
I don't remember what that was, but it looks like maybe it was popular. Wait, what is the most replayed part? Should we do that one?
I mean, I trust you.
Take a stop at like 30.
If you want to do it, yeah.
Yeah, like 30. I can get 30:03.
Okay.
This episode and me not taking the money, like, it's not just for me. It's for anyone else that's been emotionally abused. It's for people right now that are being emotionally abused. It's for people that don't have a support system that I was luckily enough to have going through this. And like the last year of my life has been like the hardest year of my life, like dealing with the abuse from this dude. And even on last week's episode, I'm still scared right now because I'm like scared of him still. My brain's rewired. Like I'm scared to make him mad. And last week I didn't want to talk about it because I was scared. So I was like, yeah, we can just talk about this stuff that's public. And I still said, fuck your money. But it came down to the point of I'm not the people before, and I was someone before you, and you made the women before me believe that they had no other choice than to take money from you, sign their experiences away, sign what they went through away. You get to go skip off and sing your little fucking songs on stage like you're a good dude. You get to treat people around you like shit. Sorry, I'm not them. I don't want your money. I don't want in 2 years to buy a fucking house and think, oh, this is the money from the dude that literally fucking destroyed me and broke me for a year. Fuck that. Fuck you. I don't want your money. And this isn't me this isn't like a drama thing for me. This isn't me not signing the NDA or not taking the money because I want to get on here and expose who he is and his secrets and all that shit. I didn't sign the NDA. I didn't take the money because I'm not signing away my experiences and what I went through to protect someone that hurt me. And I'm a lot stronger than a weak man, and I'm not, fuck you, fuck your money, fuck you. That's where I'm at. And that's why I didn't take the money. It didn't have anything to do with the podcast or with anything. I literally for the last, it feels like it's been months, but I don't know when this, like maybe 2 weeks, I have been so back and forth because the second it happened, I told his team, I have all the texts and everything. The second we broke up, the second he posted that text, I said, fuck you. I don't want your money. Like, I don't want a settlement. I don't know who you think I am, but that's not me. And then it was a back and forth. His team would call me. They gave me all these options. They started low. Then they went up to 10 million. Then they went up to 12 million. Then they wanted to give me a house. Then they wanted to give me a New York apartment. Then they wanted to do all these things to make me I mean, that in itself, $12 million to not talk about this relationship that you posted on Instagram that was so beautiful and you had so much love for me. What the fuck are you hiding, dude? What are you scared of? Like, and also everything that's already on the internet is enough. But I mean, I went through literal narcissistic emotional abuse for a year, and he made me believe everything was my fault. He isolated me for my whole entire life. He wouldn't let me be who I wanted to be. He made me hate everything that I loved about myself. He broke me down and then made me feel like he was all I had left. And he just kept repeatedly beating me down, even to the point of like yesterday, or like when I gave you guys the call, when I'm finally standing up for myself and being like, no, fuck you. I don't want to sign this. It's my fault. I'm the bad guy. This is like, you guys are idiots. Barstool's the worst. What I do is diminishing. And
did he call us idiots? I think
Bree sent me a text. He's called us all retard. He hates my guts. I ended up like more in the middle of this than I kind of was anticipating. And
which is funny because I texted Dave and was like, you want to do the diss track on Zach? And then now Dave is the one that Zach is like, what the fuck?
Well, because I feel like I have pretty good life experience through bars, whatever, older. So I was trying to act as, I guess, Bree's friend and like legal advice when I don't have any real legal advice. But like, I was knowing what was going on in the negotiations to a degree. And it was going back and forth on the money. We'll get to it. But like at one point, Austin sent me a text. And the text, and I wasn't involved at any point on this, but it was something to the effect,
well, you guys kept being brought into it for some reason. Right. I'm like, this is between me and Zach. Like, you guys kept being brought into it. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And honestly, their team is fucking stupid, because if I didn't have enough time to take myself out of the situation and really think about this, I would have fucking signed that NDA. But they stalled and they fucked up because.
Right.
Okay, yeah, we can stop it because I feel like they're about to go into a different thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Love that she called him a weak man. And I feel glad that that speculation was correct in our previous podcast. And then just like the difference, because I quoted most of that in our last episode. Mm-hmm. But hearing her say it,
yes,
it is so incredibly not the same words at all. I'm just quoting it. And I'm not quoting it like joyfully, but at first I was like, maybe it's because she's in front of dudes, but then I'm like, no, like she's a grown ass woman. She's not like a teenager. She's like stiff and kind of has a hard time getting started. And even as she's talking, she looks afraid. I don't even know what the word is. It makes me feel like I've been washed over with like a spell that disorients me. The disbelief and the alarming cruelty of how you can see that he's impacted her is just so overwhelming that like it's like it makes me speechless. I don't know, maybe like the word I am trying to use is like raw, but like hearing her talk, it is so visceral that she just got out of the worst relationship.
I think it's genuine. I think it's very authentic.
Yes.
I feel like that like visceral feeling that you're talking about, I think that is what is missing when we don't believe people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, cause we all sat there and watched like Amber Heard and no one was touched. No one was wrenched. You know what I mean? And they try to flip it around in a million different ways, but in all actuality, it's just lacking that actual like genuine authenticity. People can tell.
You can feel it. I don't know. It's that thing, like we're animals. There is just a sixth sense where we're like, I call bullshit or not. Then I quoted this too. Like, what are you hiding? When I quoted it, I guess it seemed a little confusing that she would say it this way, but I was like, well, she's under stress right now. You know, like she's not, you know, she probably hasn't slept. When she said it, I like saw what she was saying for real. She genuinely doesn't know why it would be a $12 million payment for her to sign an NDA. Like, now the way I interpret that is she's like, despite what you did to me, like, let's say like he just said the most abhorrent things. That's still not worth $12 million. Like, people would just, you could just be like, I was shit-faced, I don't remember. And most people are going to be like, well, you know, he sounds erratic. So it's like, for $12 million, and to your point, this dude's new money. So like, he doesn't have it like that. Like, to her point, what now it makes me more concerned where like we need to like maybe like investigate that, because if she doesn't know why you're paying her that much, it's a deep secret, and there isn't much worse than abusing a woman. That's pretty low. I mean,
there is also, now that you point that out, there is another part, and I'm not sure if we're going to get to it. She says that he makes a comment at some point in like, cause there's like all these group messages, like they all have a group message together with Zach, like all this stuff. And in the one, she says that,
wait, like she's in one with him?
Yeah. Like the Barstool people have like a group chat, and they have a group chat with Zach in it. At one point they had a group chat.
Oh, but it's like long gone, like down in everyone's feed.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, because like at some point, you know, when things were good, whatever. But so she says that he says something like, how do you like being recorded, or like he mentioned something about recording her and says, because you and your friends are always like recording me. And then she kind of has this thought of like, oh, maybe that's it, because I have so many videos of him so many times. And like, it's literally like you can almost see the bulb click in her head of like, because I think they were shooting like a reality show. I think, yeah, she goes, she mentions I don't think she was shooting it with him. I think she was shooting her own reality show, and it was going to be like Surviving Barstool. And she said that like, because of the breakup, she basically had to cancel the show. So I'm thinking that like they were at least running like trailers or doing like demo reels or like whatever. So she was being followed around. She's already well documented, I'm sure. Like her friends, obviously everybody's posting everything on everything.
I mean, sure, but having somebody follow you around in your evenings when you're supposed to be alone with a camera, that's huge. Like, you're getting Real Housewives shit.
Well, I mean, I don't know. She doesn't say that they were filming. That is like an assumption on my part. But she
just said I have so many videos.
Show. Yeah, and then you can literally see like the light bulb go off of like, maybe it's the videos. Like, and she's like, I do have a ton of like footage of him basically, and it's like,
dude, she needs to go through that and like, if nothing else, just for her own healing, like once she's ready, I feel like, if you're listening, Brianna Chickenfry, which I know you're not, but if you were, I would just say, don't delete those, because in a year when you listen to that back, it's going to be the most affirming, like potentially cathartic experience to just be like, yep, absolute degradation, completely a weak man, no spine, no self-awareness, no self-confidence, just dependent on me and my love and attention, and can't survive without it. So, yeah. All right. Oh, and also he's still attacking her. Like, what? That was the last thing I wrote. Like, just a question mark. Like, attacking? Like, she's saying that, like, he's blaming her for, like, talking about it or not signing the NDA. And I'm like, I'm sure because they're, you know, in a different class than me economically, that there's complications around this. But I'm just, like, floored that they are even communicating. Like, the audacity that he has to persist with her. How dare you? Like, you ended it. You didn't want it. You made sure to take full credit for it and mention how much she loves you. So, and how much you respect her. So instead of continuing to hurt her, have respect for her, like you just said. It's simple math. You're not doing math. It is not mathing. You're horrible at math.
It really reminds me of like a child having a temper tantrum in like a million different ways. But I also feel like it's like, you know what I mean? It's like now everyone is looking at this. Like this probably could have gone basically unnoticed, to be honest. Like he could have broken up with her. She could have been pissed.
Yes.
But like now this like offering her an NDA, I feel like this is what is going to be unshakable for the populace. I'm not going to let it go now. We're going to need to find out exactly why he needs to, like, it's like he could have just let it all go away.
It's just like with not Country Diddy, but City Diddy. Cassie Ventura tried to, come to a civil suit. He was like, no, I'm not paying you.
Yeah.
She filed a lawsuit. He settled it the next day. Based on attorneys that I've seen in documentaries about Diddy, one of the worst legal approaches and decisions you could have done, because it basically told everyone, if you file a lawsuit, he's going to like pay for it. And it's that thing of like a survivor coming forward and then the floodgates open. And she was the first one to do it. And it's like, I think that Diddy made that slip up of how he negotiated that instead of just paying her when she was trying to do just like kind of under the table. The arrogance and the sense of, grandiosity eventually takes you under. It took Zach under a lot earlier than Diddy, but I mean, to that effect, Zach's got nothing compared to Diddy, who's had time to rack up just a criminal enterprise worth of, I'm never wrong, it's all about me. And so just think about the similarities there. He could have just not been so paranoid about what everyone's going to think when they find out about his inner demons. If he didn't have that, he wouldn't have, offered her an outrageous sum of money that made even her question, why are you offering me this outrageous sum of money?
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. What's our next timestamp?
Our next timestamp is 39:02.
Wow. That's what I mean by I lost myself. Like everything I did in the back of my head, I had, is Zach going to be mad?
Right.
Is there going to be a reaction to this? Like, I have to make sure everything I do isn't going to cause eggshells.
Which is nuts, again, and maybe you hear it time, but it's like, why, Zach, would you go down a path with a woman who has like a blossoming career? You know who she is, and then suddenly be like, drop it. You mentioned, and I didn't know this, when we negotiated your last, and this is all I found out post, when we negotiated like your renewal, that he wanted to pay you more than we were going to pay you just not to work.
Yeah, he offered to double what you offered me so that I would quit. And this was...
Holy fuck.
I mean, do you want to stop it there and unpack that?
Yeah, he offered her double what she made at Barstools to get her to quit her job. That also too made me think about her relationship with money, when then later on he offers to pay her again so that she won't like say anything about what he did or do anything. And then you're destined for more than Barstools, like it's like harming someone as a byproduct of you trying to serve yourself.
Well, what struck me about that is like, it's interesting that instead of giving her a genuine, actual like relationship, that it's like he's treating her like a prostitute in a very transactional way, almost like in a sense.
Wait, say that again. How is he doing that?
I feel like the genuine form of that situation would be like two people meet, they fall in love. This guy happens to be much more successful, let's say, than she is. Mm-hmm. And it should be more like, we're going to get engaged. And then, like we're going to live together. And then like, mm-hmm. You'll realize that like, you don't really need to do that. Like I make enough money. You can kind of do whatever you want to do. Or like, you know what I mean? Like that is like the genuine form of that. And instead he's like, not going to do that. I'm just like, here, don't do what you're doing. So this way you can follow me around on tour and always just be my girl and like do whatever I say.
And like, hopefully it works out.
It also continues to isolate you even more from basically like the last, line of defense against like isolation. People usually still have to go to work. So their abusive spouses are normally willing to put up with that.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, in a sense, it's like he is treating her like a prostitute, in the sense of like, instead of giving her a genuine relationship and having it develop and progress the way that like it should.
Yeah.
He's just like, here's a bunch of money to do what I want. And then when shit doesn't work out, here's a bunch of money to shut the fuck up. Like, it's just like the complete inability to form like an actual authentic, genuine relationship is like, I feel really bad for this girl, because I don't know, to me, that's like, that really stuck out. Like when he had said that, because I didn't realize that obviously that he had offered her twice as much as they were offering her.
That's crazy.
Like
imagine wanting to pay double for your attention. Like what?
It would just be like, it's just so weird, because it should just be like, hey, I just want you with me all the time because I'm in love with you and I make enough money for you to not do that. So like, here's your American Express and like, will you marry me?
Right.
Like,
well, yeah, but he's not going to give her an American Express. That's the thing.
What month was this? I go by hair colors. This was probably like November, maybe? I don't know. And then I was like, no, I love my job. I love what I do. I love who I am. Like, you're not gonna take everything away from me. Like, I said I would come on the road with you because I can still do my job and I can still be me and I can still do my podcast. But he just didn't want me to do it. And he always he twisted it in my head where he would make me be like, you're better than this. You're better than Barstool. You're destined for so much more. Like, he would twist it where it was like, he made me believe, yeah, fuck that. Maybe I should leave Barstool. Like, but no, I love my job and I love what I do. And like, people have always loved me, and people started to hate me because I became this version of him through dating him.
There's so many different ways. And it made parts of doing this podcast obviously difficult because like, we'd see the follow unfollow, people want to know, or things like cheating scandals. And you ate quite a bit of shit like for him. And we talked about the diss track, like the Noah Khan, which was a huge story at like Fenway night 2. You're there. Everyone's like, Zach's supposed to be there. He got too drunk. And you were like, no, he's not supposed to be here. Like, you guys are crazy on the internet. Yeah, in hindsight, the internet was right. Like you said, the internet's always almost right in a lot of things. So I don't know how to deal with that. Like, how did you constantly kind of carrying his water, especially on like a gossip show like this?
Yeah. I mean, I ate so much for that dude. And like, as I would for anyone that I loved or cared about, like I loved him. I was going to protect him. Even though I shouldn't have, but I don't know what else other to say than like, when I care about you, I'm gonna be loyal to you and I'm gonna protect you. And I did that over and over and over. And it's embarrassing to look back on because I don't think he ever defended me. And the only thing I ever all I ever got shit for was kind of for like protecting him and defending him and like fucking my life up for him. And it's just like, I don't know. It's sad that I did so much for him, but it was never reciprocated. And I want it to be known that I understand people break up and like, that's okay. This isn't a breakup. Like, I went through a traumatic year of emotional abuse and I got broken up with over the phone. He left, never saw me again, posted it on Instagram, made a raya, and like publicly humiliated me, then called me to say it's all my fault. Like, this isn't me being like, I dated a douchebag that like cheated on me at the bar. No, this is something so much deeper than that. So if people want to say the diss track was immature, me talking about it was immature, you know what's fucking immature? The way you treated me, the fucking shit that you say, the shit that you do, the unfollows, this, that, like everything you did was immature. This is simply a reaction to the way that you treat people.
Do you
want to pause it there?
Sure.
So she knew from the get-go, but I guess my question is, would you do the same? Because Dave Portnoy, he's not sure. He hopes he would do the same.
I think if somebody was abusing me and gave me $12 million, man, I don't know. I I think I would just view it a different way. And it's such a difficult situation to genuinely put myself in that, like, because when I think about a guy that I dated, like, it would drastically change what our relationship even was based on if he had $12 million. I guess I'm imagining then that, like, Jonathan goes on like a 12-year expedition to Mars and is like, hey, I really don't want you to be alone. Like, please find a companion who you're non-sexual with.
You have the craziest analogies. Like, it's never just something normal. It's always he's going to Mars.
Well, I don't want to wish anything like terrible on him, and he needs to be out of the picture enough for me to, you know.
Okay, yes, he's an astronaut. Yes, he's
he's
pursued
up there.
his dreams of being an astronaut.
Elon. And Zach's like, hey, let me be with you. And then he ripped me down all the time and then was going to pay me $12 million. Let's say I was already a millionaire. I would not take it. No.
I feel like that's a huge point that keeps coming out in this, because like they talk about it a little more about like how they went back and forth and how like the guys were like, we can't tell her not to take it because it's like life-changing money.
I guess I need to know how much of a life change it would have been for her.
I'm pretty sure she's from like middle class roots, first of all. So it's not like anybody else has money. And her net worth is between 1.5 and 3 million. So she's really not, I mean, you're worth 3 million. That's liquidating all your assets. I'm not saying that is not a great place to be, but in the grand scheme of things, $12 million is 4 times your net worth.
Wow. I think I would do it. Because if she's worth 3 million, she's seen $1 million in her account. You know what I mean? Like, she knows, like, she's ballin'. And like you said, she's from middle class. So like for her, she is more than made it. Like she has, people never thought she'd be where she is, and neither did she. Well, I don't know if she did, but...
Well, and you can you can do a lot with just half of that money.
Yeah, and so I think just because of her perspective, it's like you got to put yourself in the mindset of like, you've done exponentially better than what anyone around you would consider like doing good for yourself. And this guy's offering you like basically 2 to 3 levels up that you know you'll get to on your own in 10 years or less. And if he has degraded you and made you feel small, the taste of that money is not the same as like it feels to me now of like just some random guy where I'm like, I don't know you. If I found out Jonathan had another family and he offered me $200,000 to not talk about it, do you know what I'm saying? Even $1 million, I would be like, or even 2 million, I'd be like, no. Like, what, you know what I mean? Like the flavor of that 2 million, I would be so repulsed by him that I wouldn't want anything. You know, when you date that guy where you're like, I don't even want to see his shirt in my house. I don't want to smell his cologne. I don't want to see a car like his. Nothing. Like, I don't want to hear that song ever again. Like, I get that. So I guess I would say yes. Now that I've walked it all the way out, where I really feel like I've got a sense, I could turn that down because she's gonna get there. She knows it.
I hate to say it, but I think it would really depend on what my experience was in the relationship. Because if this was just like a drunken, belligerent narcissist, I'd probably be like, sure, I'm never gonna fucking talk about you again. You want to pay me $12 million? But I think it was also a little more nuanced than that, because the money, it was like she was only going to get it. It was like after 3 years. So it was going to be doled out in some type of stages to make sure that she was being a good little girl. You know what I mean? And like, that's the part of it that I don't like.
Bruh. She was gonna take it. And then, like, to your point, they were dragging their feet, not doing it, trying to change it. Mm-hmm. And she was like, never mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough because I don't want to say like there's varying levels of like narcissistic abuse, but I mean, let's be honest, there are. Everything's a spectrum.
Totally.
And I feel like being a little bit broken down by a narcissist and like who's like, because like, I mean, this guy still had like a day job. He was touring. Like, it wasn't like he just like locked her in the basement and tortured her for like 365 days. Like, do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm not sure where that threshold is personally for me or anyone else.
Yeah.
So yeah, And I also like his net worth. And you know, there's another thing with him is that he, like, no one really knows how tall he is because, like, he gives short boy vibes. Like,
oh, he's definitely short. Because in their picture together at the whatever AMA is.
No. Well, and so that's why in the country song they call him like the world's like smallest man in the Dave Portnoy.
Oh, that's the smallest man cake decoration meaning.
And so like that's in there, and they say it a bunch of times, and like he even references like saying that he like lied on his like dating profile about how tall he was. And like if you go online, it does say that he's like 5'10", and I'm like, there's no way this dude is 5'10".
I mean,
there's just no way.
John tells me he's 5'9.5", and he used to tell me he was 5'11", and I was like, "You're 5'9.5", and he's like, "I know," and I'm like, "You added an inch and a half?" He's like, "Yeah, I didn't want. I mean, I knew you weren't going to think I was 6 foot." I was like, "Oh my god!" But it's, but like,
oh my god, it's amazing. I love it. So like, yeah, so there's like this whole thing with like people trying to figure out how tall he is. It says he's reported to be 5'10".
Reported.
But like, how do we not know how tall this guy is?
Didn't this dude get arrested in that public? I'm looking that up.
I also I tried to Google pictures of him, and I noticed they rarely show him next to other people.
This article from K4.com news from January 11th of 2024 says country singer Zach Bryan's arrest record in Oklahoma not found in system. There is no record of his arrest within the Oklahoma online court network system. Back in September, he allegedly interfered with the state trooper's traffic stop. He was booked. But after all of that, there is no record of Bryan's arrest in Craig County. Craig County District Attorney Matt Ballard sent K4 the following statement, quote, "We're in ongoing communication with Mr. Bryan's legal representatives, as is standard in such cases. It's being given as much weight as any other misdemeanor case of its kind, and we anticipate a resolution shortly." Okay, so when we say is standard in such cases, is that famous people? Is that people who are wealthy? Is that what such means here? It's not as any other misdemeanor case of its kind, because if it was, it would be in the system.
Ding, 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 ding. Okay, next up we have 54.
No, me and Grace
minutes.
will always be fine. There's something huge in this, which kind of like demolished our relationship. I don't know.
You got it. Do it. No, I think you got it. You got it.
You can always cut it if you want.
Yeah. Okay. So for my birthday, Zach got a house for like my family and I, and all my friends in New Hampshire. And he was on tour and he had like a three or 4 days off so he could come to my birthday. And he kept like making it this big deal. He's like, "I can't believe I'm fucking leaving tour to come to your birthday." I'm like, "You don't have to come. Like, honestly, I know it's going to be bad if you come. So you don't have to come. Like, I'm so grateful for the house, whatever. You don't have to come to my birthday." And he's like, "I'm not going to fucking miss your birthday." Then I'm like, "Then stop saying this to me. Stop making me feel bad that you're coming to my birthday." I don't care if you're here at this point.
I almost feel like that little story sums him up to a T, but continue.
To a T. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, he comes to my birthday and, he gets there and he's all kind of weird. He's acting funny. It's whatever. I'm like, whatever. He just got off tour. It's always an excuse, like something's going on. And the night starts and we all like sit around the fire and it's pretty chill. It's actually really chill. It's all of like my family and my friends. And we're sitting around the fire and he just starts doing what he does, like throwing jabs. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like from across the fire, like throwing jabs at my friends and like calling people idiots. And like, I'm like, okay, it's 11:30. I'm going to go to bed before, like I was so excited. It was gonna be my birthday at midnight. We're going to like do the champagne or whatever. I'm like, I got to go to bed before my birthday. Hopefully he will follow me to bed. So I'm like, "Good night, guys. I love you." Everyone's like, "Bree, what the fuck? Why are you going to bed? Like, it's your birthday in 10 minutes. I'm like, I got to go to bed. I'm like, "Zach, let's go to bed." He doesn't follow me. I go upstairs. I go to sleep and I wake up like probably an hour and a half later to like screaming. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So I go downstairs into the basement of this house, and it's like all my girlfriends crying, and they're all like in it. So I'm like, what the fuck happened? What's going on? And then I look outside, and I have my aunt like trying to control Zach. And there's a recording of all of this that can never be out. Basically, Zach we're all hanging around the fire, and I guess he stood up at the fire and just starts screaming at my friends, "You're not going to be anything. You're a fucking loser." Like, just the most horrible shit. Like, you're never going to make it. Like, you live off of other people. Like, just crazy out of nowhere. And I'm like, what the fuck? But when Zach's in this zone, there's no containing it. So my aunt's trying to figure it out, whatever. I bring him up to bed. He smashes glass. Wake up in the morning. I'm like, you have to leave, Zach. Like, you have to apologize. Like, this is crazy. And like, they didn't squash it, obviously, but it was like, we'll be civil today so that Brie can have one day. And ever since then, it was just awful. And Zach, every night, like, I would be trying to go to sleep on the bus, and he would just come in and just start recording me and be like, is it okay if I'm recording you, since your friends fucking record me and everyone fucking around you records me all the time? And he would just record. I have the craziest videos. Maybe that's why the $12 million is involved, because I have a lot of shit that I'm never going to put out there because it's embarrassing for me and I don't want my future kids to see it. But that's probably where the $12 million comes from.
That explains a ton.
I mean, I've met a guy like this.
Explains
smashing glass, yelling at women. Like, this is just like,
oh, look at my phone. Is smashed from him. He's always smashed my phone.
So as in like what? Take it out of your hand and throw it on the ground?
Yeah, take it out of my hand and just whip it off a wall.
It's starting to become a little more evident why the 12 million.
There's a 12
to be honest,
there's signs pointing in a direction.
I think it's good.
When she was saying like her birthday was really chill, her friends and family were there, and he's insulting them, and then she goes to bed so he'll follow her, like sacrifices herself. Just the way that she was like, it was really chill. Like, I just could feel like you're sitting at a campfire in this beautiful house. It's your birthday weekend. Your family's there. Your friends are there. Everyone's having a great time. And then your boyfriend just starts attacking the people that you love. And like, I don't know. The whole like, where she says also when she says the recordings can never be out, I'm like that he still has control over her. That she's like telling herself it's because she doesn't want her kids to see it, when it's like showing his behavior has nothing to do with her children in the future having a negative perception of her at all. Because everyone dates someone that changes.
But I also feel like it's probably normal to have those like feelings of like shame and guilt. Well, shame specifically.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because it's still so new. So it's like, I'm not surprised that that's her reaction at the moment. But I think to your point from the very beginning is don't delete them. Even if she's not ready to look at them herself.
Yeah.
If she's doesn't want to release them, whatever. But like, don't get rid of them.
Yeah. And then last note, she said, like, ever since this instance, things have been like more serious. And it's like she said it without realizing she said it, but it's ever since her friends and family basically saw it up close and personal on her birthday in a situation where there was nothing at all that they could perceive had impacted him. It was like everybody got to see it raw and all collectively to be like, we all just saw that. That's a rare instance where a large number of your support system sees the person that you're intimate with at their worst and can really judge it in real time collectively as a group. And so I think the reason things were more serious ever since then is because her friends and family probably got more involved. They started asking questions, feeling uneasy, not smiling when she brought up her ex, or just not asking about him, whatever.
The only other thing that I wanted to talk about that I didn't see, they do allude in the Country Diddy video that there was a little STI interaction and they reference it being not with Brianna, but with Brittany, who apparently was the girl before Brianna.
You know he didn't tell her.
Basically, that he had like cheated on her, and the girl posted all of the receipts online. Whether, you know, it's hard to tell, unfortunately, if text messages truly come from someone. That always kind of boggles my mind. You know, like you could say anyone's name. Like it could be you texting me. I could change you to Zach Bryan in my phone. But I think to your point that hearing her say some of that stuff, because I think a lot of the stuff that we ended up watching was some of the stuff that you had quoted yesterday or in our last episode. Mm-hmm. And I feel like, yes, like watching her say it definitely gives a different vibe to it all. I feel like clearly someone who has gone through a lot. I don't know how hard Zach Bryan's last year was, but I think this girl had a pretty tough year.
Really hard.
And it'll be interesting to see how this continues to unfold, because I don't think this is over.
No, it's not. Unfortunately. I mean, it should be, but such is life. C'est la vie. It's been great FaceTiming you for this episode.
Yeah, I love it.
So much more interpersonal.
It is. It definitely is. It makes me feel like we're actually here together talking.
It's happening in real life. Okay, bye.
Bye.